Hello, I'm Andrew. Welcome to this making session from Derby Museums. In this session, we're going to be making a Japanese stab book utilizing the four-hole method. Okay, so let's go through what we'll need today to make our Japanese stab book. Some paper. I've got A4, 10 sheets that we'll fold in half. You can use up to 20, but for the demo, I'm just going to use 10 as it's quicker. Some card. I've chosen this particular green. Something to fold the page with. You might have, if you've done some bookbinding with signature-based stuff, a bone folder. But if you haven't, a teaspoon is fine. A pair of scissors, a pencil, and a ruler. Something to hold the pages together when we do the stab bit. You might have a bulldog clip, or as an alternative you can use a peg from the washing line at home. A push pin to make the stabbing, and a needle. This is a bookbinding needle, size 15. If you don't have a bookbinding needle, you might have a darning needle. And then most importantly, of course, some thread to sew it all together. I've tried some wax linen, some wool, and some embroidery thread. I think for today we're going to use the embroidery thread because it will go well with the green colour. Yes, and that concludes what we need. Okay, so let's make a start with our book. To begin with, we're going to fold all the sheets of A4 in half. And while we're at the folding, we'll also take the card and fold that in half as well. Good, okay, so we have our folded sheets and our cover. The green card will form the cover. We take another piece of paper now, fold it again. With this, we're going to make a template for the stabbing. So it's time for our pencil and our ruler. And we're going to mark along the folded side 1.5 centimeters or 15 millimeters in from the folded edge. We'll do that at each end and then draw a line between them. With our line, we're now going to measure from each edge, again, 15 millimeters or 1.5 centimeters. So now we have the 2 of the 4 holes. For the remaining 2, if you place your ruler on the 2 marks, you'll see, if you position it carefully, you'll see that there's 18 centimeters between these 2 marks. And doing a little bit of maths, we can, if we divide 18 by 3, we can add another mark at 6 and 12. These marks will become our 4 holes. So that's our stab template. You may have noticed that I've got some newspaper here on the table today, and that's because it's a protection for the table below. You might have a cutting mat or something at home. If you have, use that fine, or some cardboard, whatever you've got to hand. And with the push pin, push through the marks to create the 4 holes that will then transfer onto the 10 sheets of paper. I'm going to do this in 2 pages at a time, and it's going to be a repetitive process, and this is where the peg comes in, making sure that when I take the peg off that I leave the orientation of the page the same way. I'm not doing any rotation. Just keep everything straight, everything the same way, and everything will line up later. I find these repetitive bits quite relaxing. So getting in the flow of making. This method dates back hundreds of years, and it's the Japanese made books with woodcuts and calligraphy and poems in. It's really gorgeous. So there we have. So we've used our template to put our holes in our pages and our cover. So with our pages and our covers now stabbed, time to take our needle and use the needle to enlarge all the holes. Health and safety point, no pun intended, there's a very sharp point on the needle, so please take your time to develop a process for yourself to make the hole safely. And when you've got the needle in the hole, ensure that the needle goes all the way through. For me, I've discovered, I discovered a system where I put the needle on the below page and pull the paper up along the needle. And then again, we're into that mass production sort of element, another nod to the Museum of Making. Repeat this process for all of the pages and all of the card. We now come to the bit where we put it all together. So we have our pages with our holes, our covers. So select which one. Again, don't do any twisting because the holes may not line up. Place the covers at front and back, like so. Take the thread of your choice. I'm going to use the embroidery thread. And the amount of thread you need to sew is 5 times the width of your book. So it doesn't, and that's not exactly 5, that's 5 and a generous bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and a bit for luck. Good. Thread the thread onto the needle. Now you can either leave it hanging, or I tend just to put a little half hitch around the longer thread just to ensure that it doesn't pull out. Okay, so we have our stabbed cover and our pages, and we're about now to use our needle and thread to sew it all together. For the sake of identification, our hole numbers are 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the process begins at hole number 2. And the first thing to do is find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the halfway point. Take your needle and pull the thread through. Pull your thread through so that there's enough remaining that you can grab at the end, and before you go any further, just tuck that inside so it's inside like that. So taking our needle again from the front, come over to the back and go through hole number 2. Pick up our needle again, we're going into so we go along and we're going to go back through number 3 to the back. But be patient. I'm guiding the needle through each of the holes. There, so the needle's through. Push it through and then pull it. With our needle, go from the back round to the front on hole number 3. And go through that hole again. So there we go. So we've gone from 2 to 3. The next bit is to go into number 4. Next we come from the front to the back and we go back through that same hole. Keep your thread tight. So we've come through. The next bit is to go around the side and back through hole number 4. So that's that corner. Next we go from number 4 to number 3. Now from 3 to number 2. and then from number 2 to number 1. Each time I'm using the surface we're on to help push the needle through. And then once we've gone through hole number 1, we're going to go from the back to the front and back through number 1. So we've gone from the front to the back of number 1. Now we go round the side and back through number 1, which leaves us one more to go from number 1 to number 2. Now, as this is the last bit of sewing, when we've gone into the book, we emerge at the halfway point where the first bit of the thread was. So this is a bit tricky, so again, be nice and patient and take your time. So I'm going to put it into number 2, go inside and look for, hopefully you can see that needle emerging. And pull it through, 4 holes all sewed neatly together. Next, take your scissors, cut the thread off, and to end up with, open the book and do 2 half hitches to secure the binding. Now, you might want to leave that as a bookmark, or in this case, I'm going to cut them off. And there you have it. So you can use that as a sketchbook. You could decorate the cover. Enjoy using your Japanese stab book using the 4-hole method. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in the museum very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.